you ever wondered why Jesus, the Son of God, needed to pray? If he was fully divine, why did he spend entire nights talking to the Father? In Mark 1:35, we read, "Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed." That single verse raises a profound question. What was so powerful about prayer that even Jesus, who performed miracles and commanded storms, made it the center of his life? Consider this. In Luke 22:44, on the night of his betrayal, Jesus prayed with such intensity that his sweat became like drops of blood falling to the ground. He wasn't just praying casually. He was wrestling with the weight of God's will. What can we learn from that moment? Why did Jesus, who had perfect authority, still bow in prayer before every major decision, every trial, and every miracle? The truth is, Jesus didn't pray because he lacked power. He prayed because prayer connected him directly to the Father's heart. And he didn't just pray for himself. In John 17, we see him praying for his disciples and even for us who believe today. What if the real secret to spiritual strength isn't just reading about Jesus, but praying like Jesus? Do you think modern Christians underestimate the power of consistent prayer? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is far from over. Why did Jesus, the Son of God, need to pray? This question reveals one of the deepest truths about his earthly ministry. Prayer was not a ritual for Jesus, it was his lifeline to the Father. In John 5:19, Jesus said, "The Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees his Father doing." Prayer kept him aligned with the Father's will, ensuring that every word he spoke and every miracle he performed flowed from divine guidance. Mark 1:35 paints a vivid picture. Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. Jesus often withdrew from crowds, noise, and distractions because prayer was where he drew spiritual strength. Before choosing his 12 disciples, he prayed all night, Luke 6:12, showing that major decisions require time in God's presence. Prayer also allowed Jesus to intercede for others. In Luke 22:32, he told Peter, "I have prayed for you, that your faith may not fail." Even on the cross, he prayed for forgiveness for those who crucified him, Luke 23:34. Most importantly, prayer was an act of intimacy. It wasn't about asking for things, but about communion with his Father. If Jesus needed this connection to fulfill his mission, how much more do we need prayer to navigate our own lives? What role does prayer play in your daily walk? The way Jesus prayed reveals not only his relationship with the Father, but also a model for us to follow. His prayer life was marked by solitude, consistency, intensity, and complete submission to God's will. 1. He prayed in solitude and at all hours. Jesus often withdrew to quiet places to pray, away from the distractions of people and daily life. Luke 5:16 says, "But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed." He sometimes prayed early in the morning, Mark 1:35, while other times he prayed through the night, Luke 6:12, when seeking the Father's guidance for important decisions, such as choosing his disciples. 2. He prayed before and after major events. Before his baptism, he prayed, Luke 3:21-22. After feeding the 5,000, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray, Matthew 14:23. This shows that prayer was not just preparation, but also gratitude and reflection. 3. He prayed with intensity. In Gethsemane, facing the cross, Jesus prayed so earnestly that his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. Luke 22:44. His prayers were heartfelt, vulnerable, and persistent, reflecting total surrender. Father, not my will, but yours be done. Luke 22:42. 4. He prayed for others. Jesus' prayers were not self-centered. In John 17, he prayed for his disciples and for future believers, asking the Father to protect and sanctify them. Even on the cross, he prayed for his enemies. Luke 23:34. 5. He prayed with faith and thanksgiving. Before raising Lazarus, Jesus thanked the Father in advance. John 11:41-42, demonstrating absolute confidence in God's power. Jesus' pattern of prayer teaches us to combine solitude, persistence, faith, gratitude, and intercession. Do you follow this approach in your own prayer life? The prayer life of Jesus offers powerful lessons for every believer. First, prayer is not optional. It is essential for spiritual strength and guidance. If Jesus, the Son of God, needed to pray, how much more do we? His example shows that prayer is not just about asking for things, but about deep communion with the Father. Jesus prayed before every major decision, Luke 6:12, teaching us to seek God's will before we act. Too often, we make plans and then pray afterward. His life shows us that prayer should come first, shaping our choices and actions. He also teaches persistence. In Luke 18:1, he said that we should always pray and not give up. In Gethsemane, he prayed repeatedly until his heart was fully surrendered to God's will. Luke 22:42. This reminds us that prayer is not just about getting answers, but about aligning our hearts with God's purposes. Another vital lesson is intercession. Jesus prayed for others, including his disciples and even his enemies. Likewise, we are called to stand in the gap for others through prayer. How often do you pray with this kind of focus and purpose? The prayer life of Jesus is not just an inspiring story. It's a blueprint for how we should approach God. Jesus prayed early, often, and with deep intimacy, always seeking the Father's will. He prayed with persistence, gratitude, faith, and intercession. If the Son of God depended on prayer for guidance, strength, and connection, what excuse do we have to neglect it? Matthew 26:41 reminds us, "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." Prayer is our lifeline, our shield, and our power source for every battle of life. If we want to experience true spiritual growth and power, we must not just learn about prayer. We must live it daily, just as Jesus did. Do you believe prayer can transform your life? Share your thoughts below, and let's talk.